All right, so I'm at the visitor center at the Great Salt Lake where there's also a copper mine. And I thought it's kind of interesting what comes out of a copper mine to go to show how rare some of these other metals are. So a lot of the gold and silver we have, believe it or not, comes from a byproduct of mining copper. And so right now copper prices are very artificially low, right? In 1971, copper was 50 cents a pound. Right now it's about $5 a pound. But if you think about it, gold and silver have appreciated a lot more than tenfold since 1971, right? Gold has gone up from $35 an ounce to by a factor of at least 50, right? And copper only 10, which means that there isn't a whole lot of incentive to look for copper, which means that a lot of these byproducts don't get found, right? But for every 300 tons of copper that we find only 400 ounces of gold to go with that, right? 400,000 ounces of gold is worth about $700 million right now. The 300,000 tons of copper, I think copper is about $10,000 dollars a ton. So it's about $3 billion worth of copper, right? So the incentives have really shifted. Right now, the only reason we continue to mine for copper is because of the impurities, especially gold and silver, right? The way you separate copper impurities, believe it or not, I think I did this at one point with a bunch of silver coins that were mostly copper with some silver. What you do is you set up the copper, the impure copper, right? I believe the coin I had was like 50-50. You set up the impure copper to the positive side of the battery, the anode, and the copper will dissolve and leave behind the silver, and the copper will migrate to the cathode and plate out. And I gotta show that sometime. I can't remember what coin I used. It has to be mostly copper, though. For 90% silver, that's not going to work because the rest of the silver is going to coat most of the copper from dissolving. I think you need a coin that's at most 50% silver for that to work. I gotta try that at some point again. But for every ounce of gold, we have only 10 ounces of silver, right? Think about that next time you think about whether you want to buy gold or silver. It doesn't look like we pull any platinum out. To give you an idea of platinum and gold, where it belongs with electrochemistry, so I was just talking about making bleach from solutions of salt water. You can't use gold for that, believe it or not. Gold will dissolve as an anode in salt water. I wouldn't recommend trying it because some of the gold compounds it makes could be very poisonous, similar to other heavy metals, right? You can use platinum for it, though. I actually, at the beginning of the pandemic, when I was making my own disinfectants, I used a 10-ounce platinum bar, which is about this big, as my anode. It worked perfectly. It didn't wear. The only problem is you got to be careful not to scratch it as you put your alligator leads, and the alligator leads will corrode because the chlorine gas coming out of it will react with iron or whatever the alligator leads are made of, right? But just goes to show which one's more valuable, gold or platinum, right? I firmly believe if we forgot all of our history and we had to start over with a new currency today, it would be platinum, easily.